Welcome to the QuickStart guide for Django, where Django is a very popular Python-based framework for web development, and it's notorious for not having a beginner-friendly setup. Well, not anymore, because I am here to simplify it, and I will explain exactly how to connect all the pieces of the puzzle together. So in this tutorial, we will first set up a Django development server. Then we will use it to render an HTML template. We will then style it with some CSS, and lastly, we will even add some JavaScript to the mix, which will be awesome. So, if you're new to this channel, welcome to Python Simplified. My name is Maria, and let's roll. So let's open our terminal and create a working environment. Now in my case, I'm using Anaconda, so I will type conda create-n as in name, and we will go for Django QS as in Django QuickStart. Then we will install a Python version of 3.9 and let's give it a run. Now, if you're not sure how to use Anaconda, I have an amazing tutorial on the topic. Check it out. Now, once we are ready, we will proceed with Y. And beautiful, our new working environment was just created. So let's copy this conda activate Django QS command and let's run it. Awesome. We are no longer inside the base environment, but we are inside the new one. And from here, we will install Django with conda install -c anaconda Django, or pip install Django if you're not using Anaconda. We will once again proceed with Y, and we have officially installed Django. Cool. Now, let's go ahead and create a brand new directory for our project. And we will do this straight from our terminal with the help of the mkdir command, as in make directory. We will call this directory Django QS, just like our environment. And once it has been created, we will navigate into it with cd change directory Django QS. Now let's make sure that this location exists in our file system. There you go, Django QS. For now it's empty, but we will fill it with some data very soon. Now, once we are happy with the location, we can go ahead and create a Django project, which will very soon contain our application. So a project is basically the parent of the app. Now, we will do this with Django-admin start project. And we will call this project my project. Just so we don't get confused, you can of course rename it on your end. Now let's hit enter. Once we do so, we will revisit our previous folder where we have a brand new directory popping my project. So let's have a look. Now we can find a manage Python file, as well as another my project directory with a bunch of other Python files. Now, at this point of time, we can officially run the server. And the reason is this beautiful manage file. Let's see how it works. So first we will navigate with cd to my project. And once we are in, we will type python manage.py run server. Now the manage file is in charge of administrative tasks, just like Django admin, which we've used to create this project. We just didn't have the manage file earlier, so we couldn't use it. Now, once we ran this command, we have our development server running at port 8000, okay, by default. So let's go ahead and navigate to our browser. Let's type localhost :8000, and there you go. We are accessing our Django server. Obviously, everything worked. Otherwise, we wouldn't see this message. Now, if you'd like to customize the port number, we will simply go back to our terminal. We will press Ctrl+C to terminate the server. And then instead of using the previous command we typed, we will press the up arrow, which will pull it out, and we will then specify at the end of it a different port. So let's say 8080. Okay, then back in our browser, we will change 8000 to 8080. And there you go. Okay, so we can customize it as we wish. In addition, you may have noticed that just by running the server, we have generated this new SQLite database file, and we'll take care of it in the next tutorial. For now, let's just acknowledge it exists. Hello. Let's move on. Now, once we have a Django project, we will create our app inside it. For this, we will first terminate the server with Ctrl+C, and we will type python manage.py start app, and we will call this app my app Given the name of our project, it only makes sense. Now, once we do so, we have created a brand new directory in the root of my project called my app, with a bunch of more Python files, which is just great, like we didn't have enough. But before we go over all of these, or most of these in great detail, I find that it's a bit easier to start with the HTML template. So let's focus on that first. So back in our terminal, we will navigate into my app with cd my app, and we will create a brand new directory called templates inside it. Okay, hopefully my head is not gonna block it. So let me just pull this terminal up. Yep, so mkdir make directory named templates. We will navigate there with cd templates, and inside it, we will generate an HTML file. We will do this with the help of the echo command, and the content of this file will be, can you read this? Pretty straightforward. We will then finish this expression with a greater than symbol, and we'll call this file index.html. Let's give it a run. Let's navigate there through our file system. There you go. Here's the templates folder, and here's index.html. Let's have a look. Beautiful. Oh, Chan, you read this. I had a typo. But that's not the only problem we have here. Another problem is that this path is clearly not localhost 8000. We are not running this with Django. It's just a random HTML file on our computer. So let's make sure Django is fully aware of the existence of this file, where our first task is to link the new templates folder to my project. So we will, of course, navigate to my project and then to the inner my project directory, where we will find the settings file. Now here, the first thing we'll do is we will import the OS module, which will help us with specifying the path of templates. Then we will scroll down until we find templates, and in particular, its directories key, which for now is just set to an empty list. And as you may guess, this is exactly where we specify the path of templates. We will do this with os.path.join. And the first argument here would be the root of my project, which is given to us by base_dir in all caps. And if you're curious, Django already took care of this variable for us right above, so we don't need to worry about it. Now, the second argument of join would be the rest of the path, which in our case is my app/templates. Boom. Let's save it. And now Django knows that all the HTML templates will be stored in this directory. Cool. Let's move on. Since Django now has access to our templates, we can finally assign our index page to an HTTP request, where generally speaking, a client or a user makes a request to the server, and then the server, in return, responds with a web page. So the key note here is that web pages don't just automatically appear, but only as a result of a user request. Now, the file in which we map requests to responses is called views, and we can find it in my project, inside my app, and then views.py. So let's quickly access it. Now, views is what we call functions that receive a request as input and return a response as output. So let's go ahead and create our very first view for index.html. To do so, we will use the def keyword followed by the name of the view, which in my case will be my view, just to keep things consistent. Now this view function will receive a single parameter called request. And then immediately we will return a render function that takes in this parameter as the first argument, so request, and the second argument would be the web page we would like to display, so index.html. Now, keep in mind that we don't need to specify the templates directory or my app because we already took care of it in settings. But aren't we missing anything here? Anything major? Like the route? For this, we will create an additional file inside my app. We'll just make a copy of views and we will rename it to URLs. Now within the new file, we will first take care of the imports. So from Django.urls, we will import path, which will help us with specifying the route. Then right below it, from our current directory, which is given by a dot, we will import views, as in views.py, which we have just modified. Then right below, we will create a list called URL patterns. And yes, the name is very important. And we will assign it to a set of square brackets, in which we will nest a path function. Now, the first argument of path would be the route we'd like to select for our view. And in my case, I'm going to go for my view, which is quite simple. And we will finish this route with a slash. Now, the next argument would be the view itself, which is given to us by views.myView. So we are basically fetching a function called myView from a file called views.py, which we have just imported above, which is lovely. But guess what? Just because we've placed this urls.py file inside our Django application, it doesn't necessarily mean that Django is aware of its existence. So let's go ahead and fix it. Let's save this file in case we haven't done it earlier. And let's go back to our file system. Now inside, we will go to my project and to the inner my project folder, where surprise, surprise, we can find another urls.py file. So let's access it. And here, we will need to import an additional function from Django URLs. On top of path, we will also need the include function. And then right above our existing path admin instance, we will create an additional path instance. And please do not forget the comma in the end of this expression, because we want it to be separated from the next item in the list, okay? And also indentation, very important. Now the first argument, once again, is a route. So I'm gonna go for my app and then a slash. Now the last argument would be the file, which we'd like to include in our project, which means urls.py. Okay, and we will do this with the help of the include function we have just imported, and we will specify a string of my app.urls inside it. So we are basically fetching the Python file of URLs from the directory that is called my app. Great, let's save it. And believe it or not, we can officially run our Django app and everything should work, thank God. Now, I wasn't kidding when I told you it is not a beginner-friendly framework. So let's navigate to our terminal and run it, finally. We will do this. Well, actually, we'll need to navigate to my project first. We will do this with cd // which basically takes us 2 directories back. There you go. And from this directory, we will run our app with python manage.py run server. Alrighty, so we can now navigate to our browser and we will then type localhost 8000. But since we've just added a bunch of new routes, our new extension would be /myapp/myview. Okay, whew. Hopefully it worked. Let's run it. And there you go. Here's our HTML web page. Good job. Now, if for any reason you don't want to have this myView extension, you can always go back to our code. We can find urls.py, and instead of myView, we'll just include an empty string. Okay, we'll save it. We will now terminate the server. We will run it once again. We will navigate to our path, and we'll delete this myView. And boom, we are accessing the exact same web page, but with 1 route less. And perfect! The most difficult part is behind us, and now we are only left with CSS and JavaScript, which is what we call static files. So let's navigate back to our terminal. Let's terminate our server with Ctrl+C, and we will navigate to my app, where we will create a new directory, which we will call static. We will navigate to static, where we will create an additional directory called CSS. We will, of course, navigate there as well. Now, in this directory, we will create our style CSS file with echo once again, and let's keep it empty. So let's just finish this with a greater than symbol and then style.css. Then we can go ahead and navigate there from our file system. So my app, static CSS, and there you go. Here's our style sheet. Let's open it. So let's get rid of this placeholder text and let's replace it with the most basic styling block I can think of. So let's select all the elements on the page with an asterisk, and then in a set of curly brackets, we will specify the background color of slate gray. Can go for any other color, it doesn't matter. And then we will place all the elements in the center of the page with text align center. Then lastly, let's assign a text color with color Let's go for white. Okay, ooh, white. Let's save everything and let's navigate back to our file system. Now, since we have created this brand new static directory, we will need to specify it in my project. So we will navigate to my project, then to my inner project directory, where we will access the settings.py file, which we are already familiar with. And the best part is we already know how to specify the paths of folders. We'll just navigate below and we will copy our os path join command and we'll slightly revise it. So let's then scroll much lower until we see this static URL variable. Then right below it, we will create a new one called static files in the same word _dears in all caps. Okay, we will assign it to a list in which we will paste the command we just copied, with the only difference of changing templates, so my app/templates to my app/static. Boom. Okay, we are done with the settings file. Now, in addition, we will also need to link our CSS style sheet to our HTML document. For this, we will of course access our templates folder and we'll open index.html with a text editor. I'm going to go for Sublime. Now, this is not exactly a traditional HTML document. It's just a bunch of text. Now, usually an HTML document begins with a tag of doc type HTML. And this is how we know that we are dealing with an HTML document. That's pretty straightforward. Now, right underneath, we have an HTML opening tag and an HTML closing tag. And in between those tags, this is exactly where our web page lives. Now, inside HTML, we have two other very important tags. The first one is head, which contains metadata or information about our document. So, for example, this is where we place our title. Okay, so let's choose the title of this is actually my first Django app. Okay, that's quite appropriate. And then in addition to the head tag, we have another important tag called body, which just as it sounds contains the body of our web page or the content. Okay, so if we're trying to recreate our previous web page, but in an HTML-y kind of way, we would place our text inside a paragraph element given by a p tag. Funny name. And in between those tags, we will type Chen, you read this. Okay, we will keep our typo to be consistent, so let's save it. And awesome, now we are dealing with an actual HTML document with a proper one. Now, in order to link our style sheet to this HTML template, we will use the Django templating engine, which only sounds difficult. It's actually quite easy. So right below our doc type tag, we will open a set of curly brackets and then followed by percentage symbols. Now, this is what we call a logical tag. This is where we place if statements and for loops. But in our case, we need to use it for something else. We will need to load an address, or actually a path we have within our app. So we will type load static, and that's it. So we are basically loading the static folder, which we have specified as a path inside settings.py. Now, once we have easy access to this directory, we will then physically link our style sheet to our HTML document within the head tag. And the way to do so is to open a link tag. And okay, looks like Sublime automatically filled up all the information I had in mind. Amazing. So basically, we set the type of text/CSS, which indicates it's a CSS document, and then we set the rel or relationship to a style sheet. Now, the last thing we need to take care of is the href attribute, which is basically the path of our CSS style sheet document, okay? So since we are accessing this static directory from our templating engine, we will open a set of curly brackets, inside them a set of percentage symbols, and we will type static. Now, this will link us to the static folder itself, but we are actually looking for the style sheet, which is within a different directory, which we will specify with /CSS and then /style_CSS, which is the name of our file. Okay, so this is the static directory and this is the rest of our path. Beautiful. Let's save it. Let's give it a run. So let's go back to our terminal. There you go. And inside, we will need to access my project. So let's just copy this path and let's navigate there. Beautiful. And from here, we will type Python manage.py run server, like we already used to. Let's access our browser. Now, in order to see a change in style, we don't just refresh the page, we also need to refresh the cache. Now, if you're using Chrome, you will press the Control key, and with the Control key pressed, you will press on the refresh key. And beautiful. There you go. Here's our style sheet. It is officially connected. So next, we will move on with JavaScript. Now, since JavaScript is also considered to be in the realm of static files, we will of course navigate to the static directory, where we will create an additional directory of JS, as in JavaScript. And inside it, we will create a JavaScript file. We'll just do it directly from Sublime. Let's just make a brand new file. And the easiest way to check if JavaScript is connected to our web page is by logging something to the console. We will do this with console.log, which is the most basic command, probably the first command you learn in JavaScript. And we will type yo, yo, yo. Okay, we'll then finish this expression with a semicolon because this is JavaScript and this is how we do it. And now we will save it in this new directory we have created, static.js. We'll call this file script.js. Next, we will link this new script to our HTML document. And the way to do so is to place it at the very end of our body tag. We'll then open a script tag. And there you go. Here's some Sublime magic once again, where it automatically filled in the type of the document, which is text/JavaScript. Now, the last thing we need to mention here is the src, or the source, and we can just copy it from above because we kind of already have most of it written. So let's copy it, let's scroll down, and in a set of quotes, double quotes, we will paste what we just copied, and we will adjust /css/style to /js/script.js. Beautiful. Okay, let's save it. Hopefully it worked. And yeah, the script tag needs a closing tag, unlike the link tag from earlier. Cool. Let's now go back to our browser and let's refresh the page. We will then access the developer tools with a right click anywhere along the page, then inspect, and then we will access the console tab, where you can find our lovely message of yo, yo, yo. Now, thank you so much for watching. If you found this tutorial helpful, please share it with the world and don't forget to give it a huge thumbs up. Now, if you have anything to say, you can always leave me a comment below, even if it's just saying yo, yo, yo. If you like this type of content, you can always subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell. Now, if you're rich, I actually added a brand new thank you button so you can buy me coffee. Even though I'll probably spend it on computer parts, it's just full disclosure, guys, full disclosure. And yeah, I'll see you soon in a brand new tutorial. And in the meanwhile, bye-bye.